Regan, are you ready?
I'm always ready.
For this? Yeah.
All right, can you just restart it?
Nope. No edits. All gas, no brakes, baby. Coming in hot. Just the tip. A fantasy football podcast. Welcome you in. We are your tippers. I am Mac. We got Ryan Haynes, the Tagless. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Hey, I got something for you. I know you've been criticizing my background and you wanted it to be more sporty. So my wife bought me a Patriots coloring book. So I decided to kind of spruce it up a little bit. I'm going to throw it right here. And you know what the best thing is about this coloring book? It's from like 2010. And the first guy out of the locker room is Aaron Hernandez right there, baby.
That is awesome.
Oh, shoot. I gotta go.
I was going to say, you have it right behind you. So for those of you listening, Ryan has ripped a page out of this coloring book. It looks like they're coming out of the tunnel there, Ryan, that you colored all nice and blue and silver and white. Cheater.
It's a nice job, man. I'm telling you. Yeah. I spent all like breakfast Saturday morning doing that.
That's awesome. You're lying. Your daughter drew it. Your daughter colored it, and it wasn't you. We also have Regan. Regan, how are you?
Oh, wonderful. Happy to be here, and wish I had a coloring book like that.
I got plenty of pages.
I appreciate it. Hey, send them my way, please.
I'll scan them and email them to you.
Yeah, I'm not the best. Oh. Oof.
I shouldn't talk about copyright infringement, you know.
All right, forget everything you just said.
It's fine. I don't
you know my email.
I don't think 10 people listening will report us or anything. We'll be all right.
Well, I hope
not. Some fans.
Nah, the Google machines will find us, though. I don't know. We got one snitch in the house here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should try to get that signed by Aaron Hernandez, huh? Too soon?
One day. I'll just bring it with me.
Anyway.
That didn't land. All right, anyway, moving on.
That was a good drop right there.
Yeah. Too much time on that, but we just want to say enough of the pleasantries with you guys. We want to say thank you to you fans out there listening and watching us wherever you find your podcasts. We are on YouTube. If you want to see Ryan's lovely picture, check us out at YouTube at Just the Tip, a fantasy football podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Google, and Amazon. Same handles. If you would like to, just please hit the like button, subscribe to our channels, download our episodes, follow us. Rate us, give us a 5-star if you would. That would really help us out. No less than a 5-star, please.
There's no point otherwise.
We need the pity rating. So, thanks for those sticking around since the beginning, like Regan's dad and Hutch out there, big supporters. And then, is it Ryan from Vermont there? Haynes?
Nice. Yep.
Yep. Big fan. He got us a lot of followers on Twitter lately, so we appreciate it, man. Share our tips with your friends and family too. Don't be shy. They're for everybody. Speaking of sharing, Regan,
so I
got something to share with us.
Yeah, so actually, word's getting out there, and I actually had somebody come up to me at work, and they were like, it's really tough for me to listen on YouTube. I'm actually taking a plane ride to Greece this weekend. And he's like, obviously, I can't watch YouTube. And I was like, well, we're on everything you could think of. Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon. He's like, you're on Spotify? That's amazing. I was like, yeah, we've been on there for a little while. He's like, yeah, I'm going to download all of them and listen. I was like, it's funny you say that. I was like,
thank you.
Yeah. He's literally going to download all of them and listen. And I was like, oh, man. Later on, I was like, how far is the flight to Greece? So from Boston to Athens, Greece is 12 hours and 20 minutes. And this is episode 12. He might be able to get them all in.
Got them all, man.
Good for you, man. He's set. Oh, man. And then, of course, once I looked up how long the flight was, it also said the price of ticket. And I'm not going to say his name because of it, but I was like, one-way tickets, $904. I was like, that's for one person. I was like, so you're going, it's actually is like his honeymoon. So that's 4. If he necessarily needs 4 of those tickets, that's $3,600. I was like, are you going to backpack through Greece? I was like, you're going to run out of money.
That's awesome.
It's all right. He'll have a good
Good
fantasy
for
knowledge,
him.
though.
Hope he has fun, man. We
Get
won't
all
use
back in
names
the
though.
fantasy season. I think that's what he's banking on.
Oh,
He
yeah.
will.
hmm
I guaranteed it a few episodes ago. At least one win in the next 20 years. So if you listen to us,
I hope I get that next year. I'm 6 leagues.
we'll see. But yeah, it's too bad he's going across the pond there. That would have been cool. I'm just going to jump ahead before we get into the briefs. Big news. We now have merch. Ryan's sister-in-law, Shannon, she has her business Lakeshore Design. That's Lakeshore, one word. Lakeshore Design wrote R-I. All right. Follow her page on Facebook and Instagram. Check out some great stuff. We'll have the merch in to show you on the stream here. But if you check out our socials, excuse me, just the tip, FFP. I need to wet my whistle. Ryan, tell us about the products that she made.
Yeah, we got some good stuff coming. We got some hats, some snapback hats, kind of similar to what I'm wearing right now. Some koozies, some coasters, all kinds of good stuff coming our way. So, like Max said, we'll be, I don't know if you said this or not, but giveaways for next episode.
Ooh,
we have
no, I didn't get into that
all right. I wasn't really listening. I'm sorry. Every time you talk, I just kind of zone out a little bit. So
you
yeah,
sound like my
we got a
wife.
couple of and yeah, check out her page. She's got lots of good stuff.
That was-
It really does.
Signs,
If we had
all of it,
subtitles, that would be inaudible. I had no idea what you said there, and I'm talking over you. This is great podcasting, guys. So great job, especially me. No, I'm joking. Anyway, yes. So we will have that merch available. We'll get T-shirts out and available as well. But yes, next episode, make sure you are listening. We will do a contest. We'll make sure we'll post it on our socials as well. The rules on how you can win a hat and a koozie. Too bad the Grease guy can't get it. To share some coasters at some bars out there when he's backpacking. Maybe get some international fans. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, so 4th of July is coming up, man. Celebrate Independence Day at your cookouts with some koozies and a hat. Man, and just expose your tips to everybody. Or our tips, too.
Just trench coating it up.
Yep, just do it. It's fine. You
With
can
a
use
hat.
the koozie. You can use the koozie with multiple ways too.
Oh, God. He's not wrong.
True,
I mean,
it's not backed up by science, whatever you're referencing.
Let's get into the briefs.
I'm here to do an interview for the premiere issue of Briefs, a magazine for cute gay lawyers.
all right, Ryan. What do you got for the briefs today, man?
All right, not a lot on the radar, but I have one thing for each of you guys. So Jamison Crowder restructures his deal to remain with the Jets. This is his last contract year. And Mac, I know you love guys who are on a last contract year, and he's with your boy Zach Wilson. So how jazzed are you about this move?
Jazz isn't how I would describe it, but if you're saying my nipples are a little bit hard, yeah.
What a
That's too
visual.
awkward. I'm just pointing it out there, literally. Yeah, no, it'll be good, man. But so I'm trying to think: is he a buy low in Dynasty right now, Ryan? His highest rank has been 26 as wide receiver in PPR format. So I'm expecting to have a bigger year this year with a better quarterback and better coaching besides Gase. Yeah, I don't know. Should I try buying low? I kind of need a receiver.
Yeah, he's a good plug and play option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's really all he's ever been.
That's all I need. I have Metcalf and oh god, who else do I have? Kelsey, Jefferson.
Who's your quarterback?
My quarterback's Tom Brady, man.
Oh
Haven't
yeah.
you heard?
I forgot. Sorry about that.
Oh, you also traded me Jalen Hurts for cheap too, so thank you for that because he's projected to be like a top 5 quarterback. But hey,
wanted to make sure you continued the trend of bringing up Tom Brady as your dynasty quarterback every episode. So
I don't think I did it last week, so it's very disappointing. All right, we've lost Regan. He's not paying attention anymore. What's the next topic?
I got something for Regan. So Stephon Gilmore is a no-show at mandatory mini camps. Reeks, how long did it take you to cry yourself to sleep when you heard the news?
Not that long because I was exhausted and didn't hear about it till the next day. Good. My thought process on it though is I look at like the Pats defense in 2019 and how good they were. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they finished first in general. They're getting a lot of those players back, from COVID holdouts and grabbing a couple guys, their ends in general. So having him,
Kyle Van Noy back.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, Matthew Judon.
Yeah, that's what yeah. But either way, they have those guys, they're getting guys back, and they would have him. I could see them easily being a number 1 defense again, and without Gilmore, not so much. So, kind of a huge thing. He's not going to Miami. Quiet you.
Oh no, we took Jason McCourty. We're good. Miami has their own problems. They have Xavier Howard, their corner there, who got 10 interceptions last year, who just signed a 5-year extension in 2019, but he's getting paid less than Byron Jones on their team, so now he's holding out. So they have their own issues. They're not trading for Gilmore. Don't worry.
Yeah, you guys called me out.
Man, what the heck? That's like a year ago. Now you're going to try to fight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 10 picks. I mean, it's pretty good. And a couple was against Mahomes as well. So, hey, go for the money. I think he's getting $12 million this year, and Byron Jones is getting 18. I don't know. They're like the top 2 defensive backs, the highest paid defensive backs this year in Miami are those 2. So, yeah, they have their own issues down there.
You know how many Patriots memorabilia I could buy with that much money? Just saying. Just jump to the next.
Or just the tip merch.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
There you go.
Possibilities.
And the last thing that I have, Mac had referenced a little Clams Casino last week on the last episode. So my question to you guys is Clams Casino or Oysters Rockefeller? Mac,
Regan, you got this or no?
I don't like oysters, so
okay, yeah, I would have to go Clams Casino because I never had Oysters Rockefeller, so I'm gonna have to try that out now and get back to you.
Some dope names though, in general.
I know, right? Although I like Oysters Rockefeller.
Yeah, what is that?
I had to look it up. I was just looking for cool names the other day.
So you haven't even had it? Oh, my God.
Cool seafood appetizers.
Oh, how embarrassing.
I have had oysters. I was afraid you were going to ask me that question. And if I was comparing it with regular oysters and Clams Casino, although I do like oysters, I would pick Clams Casino because it's a little less slimy, a little bit more filling, a little easier to eat, all those things.
Freaking bacon on it. Of course you're going to pick that. It's so much better.
What I mean.
You were too busy doing your homework elsewhere. That's fine.
Hope so.
Is there anything else there in the news there, Ryan?
That's
kind of
it.
A little decent-sized package there.
So that's why it's so big.
Alrighty. I don't think I mentioned it at the top here. What's wrong, Regan?
You got me good.
Okay. Didn't mention it at the top here, but it is June 15th, 2021. So if we missed out on some news, some big breaking news, which most likely won't happen, that is why. We are not clairvoyant. We are not predicting the future. We're projecting it, though. And projecting this season, we want to get into our 5-point stance there. You've heard of a 2-point stance, a 3-point stance, and a 4-point stance. But our specialty is a 5-point stance. You can do the math. So let's get into this, shall we?
ESPN 8, The Ocho, bringing you the finest in seldom seen sports from around the globe since 1999. If it's almost a sport, we've
This was
got
too
it
long.
here.
I love it. I love it.
All right. So, at our 5-point stance, we are going to give you 5 tips from what we've learned from our fantasy football experience, from our mistakes, other people's mistakes, not so much mistakes, but also our successes as well. So, Regan, how about you start us out here?
Yeah, so the first one on my my 5-tip stance is just knowing your league. This is a really simple one, guys, and you know, you just got to know. You can pick up habits. I've been in this league. I have 2 examples about a league. I've been in this league since I don't even know 2010, 2011. It's been a while. People start to do the same things. You can look back at drafts. You can do like the littlest thing. You can just see, me, I love picking wide receivers early. That's just what I do. So necessarily that running backs might fall after me. So I have 2 examples on just knowing your league. I have my boy DJ Bomb. I'm not gonna throw his real name out, but in general, he DJs, called himself Bomb. He loves the Patriots. He loves.
Can I interject real quick here? How come we're holding out names like people don't want to be associated with us? I feel kind of like offended.
Hey, they might flag us. We don't know.
I mean, I'm going to use your dad's name. So, all right, go ahead. Continue.
Anyways, so DJ Bomb loves Tom Brady, loves the Patriots. Even though Tom Brady's on the Bucks, he picks these guys very early. I've seen him grab Tom Brady in the first round like 3 years ago. I was like, well, what the hell are you doing? And he actually does pretty well, which is surprising. There was actually one year that he got 2nd overall, I believe, just picking past players. But like, hey, I want Tom Brady, or I want, there's no other Patriots this year, but just in general, back in the day, Edelman or something like that, they're not going to be there where you want them to be. Don't plan on them being gone. I have another guy, Mr. Copes. He loves Hard Knocks. He loves watching all the episodes of Hard Knocks. He listens to Hard Knocks.
Same.
He's infatuated with it. So whenever the draft's coming, we're getting to the back half of the league's draft. Like those sleepers that have been on Hard Knocks that you might know, but he knows, and he's gonna pick them. So you gotta grab him early. You gotta think smart about it, and that's it. That's the basic. Know your league, know your what some of the other guys' tendencies are. Pay attention.
All right, man. Sounds good. Take it to the bank. My turn. Am I up?
Absolutely.
All done there? All right. So my first tip for you. All right. Don't draft for the sake of position. All right. I've made this mistake before. It's where you're out at the back end of the first round, and you're like, I got to draft a running back. All the top 5 are gone. Like, I got to grab one real quick. So did a little digging, a little listening to other podcasts. I know it's a great sin, but I want to gather up information from everybody else as well. Listen to different opinions, so I usually go 2 running backs. And then I'm looking at this stat. All right, so if you draft a running back that is out of the top 5 or the top 8 in PPR format, you miss out on the top wide receivers, the top 3. So Stephon Diggs with 328 points, because you need a top 12 running back. So you're looking at a top 12 running back, and say you're at pick 10. On average, and this is according to CBS Sports, all right, the 3rd wide receiver scored 53 more PPR points than the running back 8, which was Josh Jacobs. He had 231. So it comes out to at least 3 more points per game. But most of the time, the wide receiver 4 to 7 score more than the running backs 8 to 10. All right, so wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins 287, Ridley was 281, Jefferson 281, Metcalf 271, versus the number 4 running back last year was Montgomery with 264, and Derrick Henry is at number 3 with 333. That's a huge gap. Ryan, quickly, what's the math on that?
What a jerk.
Just see if you're paying attention, man. Just see if you're paying attention. That's 69 points.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, I could have got that one.
Yeah, you could have.
Yeah,
I think that's right. I'll check it and edit and post later if I'm wrong there. Anyway, So running back 8 to 10, Josh Jacobs at 231, Zeke at 223, Kareem Hunt at 218. All right, so there's more upside going wide receivers. So don't just draft for the sake of position. All right, Kareem Hunt, people drafted in like the 7th round last year. I forget what his ADP was, but it was like 6th, 7th round last year, and he was the number 10 running back. All right, so once you miss those first top 5 running backs, you might want to be looking at Kelsey and the receivers there. You guys got any thoughts on that?
That's pretty much why I draft wide receivers, because I always draft later in the rounds. It seems to happen every year. So yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah, you're just so good. You're always at the back end of the draft, huh?
No, that's like luck of the draw, like pulling names out of a hat.
All random.
I just had bad luck.
All right.
I think
What about you, Ryan?
This tip will segue into a couple of my tips. So I
right.
100% agree with you.
Segue away.
All right. I'm going to bounce around a little bit with my tips just because I want to follow up with that. So I guess the one that's most applicable is don't waste precious draft capital on a veteran running back, especially if they are coming off of a subpar season and are over the age of 25. Think about Le'Veon Bell last year, even the year before that, the first year he signed with the Jets. Coming off of a season which he held out in Pittsburgh, they have a rookie running back behind them. So thinking about teams where, they drafted a rookie running back and used precious draft capital on those rookies, Mark Ingram, Marlon Mack, who I know is a confounding variable because he had an injury last year, Devin Singletary with Zach Moss behind him. So be very mindful of the capital you're using on a running back. And like Mac's saying, look for that value in the first round. And he's really referencing, tier drafting here. Like if you're going into a second or third tier of running backs, might be better to go. The data shows it's better to go with a first tier wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. Anything, Regan?
Check mark.
All right. Well, Regan, I guess you can go now.
All right, guys. Well, too soon. I'm sure I can mess up on one of them. Just wait for me. Anyways, we'll jump to my second tip. It's looking ahead at schedules. And when I say that, at the beginning of the draft, nobody really knows what these defenses are going to do. There's been so many years where we think a defense is going to be great, and they're horrible. So once you get into the draft, you're going to figure out they're amazing every single year for the past 21 years.
Except last year. Anyway.
Anyways, before I was really interrupted as usual. Lost my train of thought. You're a horrible person.
I'm sorry. I'm terrible.
Schedules.
No, I know. So, look ahead at schedules. So once you get into the league, as you see the weeks going on, you're going to see which teams are doing worse against run, which teams are doing worse against pass, obviously. And then you first off, you should look at your own players. See if your players have a hard schedule coming up, especially when you get closer to that trade deadline. So obviously you're playing, the Rams in the past or whatever, like a wide receiver, you're going to get Ramsey, you're going to get locked down, so on. You just got to pay attention to that kind of stuff. So example about this is, so last year I was struggling in one of my leagues with running backs, and I looked ahead at some of my other teams. And I wanted to find somebody that, find a player that somebody might be down on, that I can make a trade for. But looking at their schedule and knowing that they're probably going to do okay and be beneficial to my team. So last year, David Montgomery, I actually made a trade for him. He was only averaging 8.9 fantasy points a game for the first 9 weeks. Week 10 and 11, I think week 10, he got a concussion. Is in concussion protocol. Week 11 was their bye, so he kind of had 2 weeks. He came back that 12th week, scored 20 fantasy points. That was week 12. So trade deadline, I believe, is week 13 in that league. So I made a trade for him that week 12, and I was like, let's just do it. What did I trade for Montgomery? Oh, David Johnson straight up, because the guy just was bitter about him. So I was like, here's David Johnson. Do you want to do it? And he did it. He like last second. It was awesome. Right before the trade deadline. He ended up scoring or averaging 21.7 points from week 12 to week 17. That is a huge upgrade. And the only reason this happened is because I saw that his remaining schedule was great for running backs. So you got to find those little things. And obviously, this guy, he helped me win my fantasy league with those points. And I say that, but I also had Alvin Kamara, who I traded for. And he scored me 6 touchdowns on Christmas, so that was a great gift. Big fan. So I had 2 giant trades for running backs.
Yeah, what did you give up for Kamara? How did you swing that trade?
So Kamara, I got lucky. In this league, I drafted Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen. So I ended up keeping Josh Allen, trading away Aaron Rodgers, and I actually had to give him Kenyon Drake, who I wasn't that high on. Looked at his schedule, wasn't that good. Parted ways. Trade both of them. Got Alvin Kamara. Ended up winning my league, and also a big chunk of change. So that was great.
That is pretty sweet.
So
that's
needless
one
to say,
QB.
1 QB. Yeah, it was a Yahoo. Yeah. Like it was a 0.5%, 0.5 PPR points. It was a tough league.
Nice, good for you, man.
Felt great.
Ryan, you got anything with that?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I hear a lot of guys who finish consistently at the top of our leagues. They'll talk about looking at schedules later in the season, especially before the trade deadline. And even if you lose the trade in the moment, if you're forecasting how the rest of that season is going to play out, and you think the guy you're trading for is going to outscore your guy, make that move. Don't be afraid to make that move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to find those guys that are desperate for wins, or they're borderline 500, and they're like, man, I really need something. I did that in Ryan's league. I traded for McCaffrey because he kept on being hurt, and the guy's like, I need a win, so I traded him Chris Carson and another wide receiver for McCaffrey. I was just like, dude, like he's not. I'll take the risk of him ever coming back, and he really didn't. So I took the risk. I didn't make it too far into the playoffs, but take the shot. You never know if somebody's just going to give up on him.
Well, it could have
been.
You're
not going to win if you're passive. That's for sure.
Yeah, true. I mean, if I stuck with Chris Carson, I wouldn't have won either. So,
right way to think about
it. You never really win with Chris Carson anyway. But anyway, I am up, and I am choking.
I think this goes nicely into your next point, Mac, to be honest.
Did his own drop while he was drinking? That was awesome.
Oh, that was nice.
Had to buy some time. You guys leaving me hanging. But yes. Yeah, do not get attached to players, man. All right, sometimes one of your favorite players, he's on your team. I'm a Miami fan, and way back in the day, Ryan knows the story back I took Ronnie Brown in like the first round or something just because I didn't know what I was doing. Didn't do my homework. I just was like, oh yeah, he's a cool guy. He's on my team. But yeah, don't get attached to your players. Sometimes your favorite player on your team, he's going on a cold streak. You might have to sit him for a while and put somebody in that's going hot. It doesn't matter what the draft capital was. All right, obviously in the first round, all right, you're going to stick with him longer. But in the third round, but then you pick somebody up on the waiver wires because they're going hot, but you leave him on your bench and he's getting you double-digit points while somebody's getting singles. And it's like, but I really like that player. I spent a lot of draft capital on him. It's costing you points, man, and probably wins. Take the chance. If somebody's going hot, just ride him. Ride him until he goes cold, and then see if the guy switches. Then if he does, you might have to trade him. Flip a trade like Regan did. So don't be a homer, and don't deny the trends. That's my second tip to you.
I did this last year with Marquise Brown. I was really high on him preseason, I thought their passing game would elevate. I didn't think it would decline. And I just rode with him for way too long. And meanwhile, like, same thing, like, guys on the bench, double digits. You know, a couple times I benched CeeDee Lamb when he had Dak, and I had Marquise in there, and it just wasn't good. So Max Wright, don't get attached to your players. Be smart.
Yeah, it's a real simple tip, but sadly it does happen to pretty much everyone.
It costs you wins, man. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ryan. Your second tip.
All right. So this is also going to kind of tie into your first tip, Mac, because I'm going to bring up Josh Jacobs here. So don't rely, if you're in a PPR league or even a half PPR league, don't rely on touchdown-dependent running backs as your running back one, with the exception of Derrick Henry, because he's going to put up a shit ton of yards. So in both of our leagues, whoever owned Josh Jacobs as RB1 finished last in total points. So if Josh Jacobs was your best guy, your workhorse, you were at the bottom of the standings in any league, I'm guessing. And that running back one, or your best player in general, like, they have to be consistent, and they have to put up double-digit points week in and week out for you to have a chance. And if for some reason you have a guy who you pick in round one who gets hurt, and you don't have that, you have to have that. And your best chance is in that first round. So don't mess it up if you're in a PPR league by drafting somebody who you know is going to be inconsistent.
Great point. Yeah, this is actually going to go into one of mine, so I'm not going to get too deep into it, but
just go right with it, man.
I don't want to. It's too soon.
You don't want to take it too deep?
Not yet. I just took the tip, and I'll leave it there.
Is it too big?
Let it marinate.
Oh, God.
Mac, what do you think?
I think it's a great tip. I was just trying to get Regan to move along with it, but hey, yeah. So yeah, there are the outliers. All right, so that's one thing we need to bring up is there's always the exception to our tips or to the rule. All right, you're gonna have one of those outliers, so you gotta be mindful of it. But the majority of the players that we're talking about, the majority of the tips, the way the trends are looking, most likely, what we're saying is translating out. All right, there's going to be the one or two outliers, so just be mindful of that. Just because it works for Derrick Henry doesn't mean it works for everybody else. It works for Nick Chubb doesn't mean it's going to work for Josh Jacobs or Dobbins coming up this year. I'm trying to think of an example coming up this year. Yeah, Todd Gurley. You know, he started out hot and then just fizzled out. So you guys see, look ahead of the schedule. All these tips are tying in together pretty well, guys. So, Regan, what's your next tip, man?
Pick tip 3 over here. It's going to be go in having a draft strategy that you're confident with and sticking with it. You know, I know it's tough, but you got to have some sort of idea. You got to mock draft. Obviously, that's number one key thing you got to do. Go in, mock, see what you got there, see what you can expect. The problem is, you know, you get to your draft and you got that no good, I'm going to say explicit words, guy that grabbed the fantasy magazine on the way over at CVS, jumps in, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go with this guy and this guy. I'm like,
hashtag not a sponsor.
Yeah, oh gosh. Yeah, right? Good call. No, but they're going to reach on your guys and, you know, you're going to be lost. You know, and this is what happens. It always happens. So you got to have a backup plan for the guy you were planning on. And then when it comes to this stuff, you know, everybody has the top 300 sheets, or you have your own magazine or so on. You know, a tiered based system really helps in this scenario. Meaning I have this guy, this guy, and this guy in this tier. Here's my next tier of, you know, the next 3 wide receivers and so on. So if your guy gets taken, you have a couple more, and you know you're not reaching on it through yourself. So making your own is awesome. or getting a tiered system will really help you. But just be prepared. And obviously, just mock draft. That's the last thing I have to say. Mock draft, have a system, you'll be fine.
Even mock draft right now. Like, you don't have to wait. Get some ideas going. All right, you got some time. You're in the bathroom. You're taking your sweet ass time. I mean, you're looking at our podcast. You're looking at our social medias. But go ahead, spend 5 minutes. Do a quick mock draft. All right, it won't hurt. Might help you down the line there.
Yeah, if I can add one more note that I missed on that too is
ahead.
if you're prepared and you have that tiered based system or something else that you feel more comfortable with, which is fine, but you need to have that backup plan. This is going to give you so much more time in the draft. I know, like when I'm in a draft, somebody takes my guy, I'm scrambling to figure out who I want next, but not if I have that tiered based system or next in line. So now I can look ahead at the team after me has 3 quarterbacks. Obviously, he's not going to take another one. Obviously, that's a little ridiculous. But just in general, you can look ahead, plan accordingly, and, necessarily outsmart everyone else because you have more time. You're more prepared.
So I just have a follow-up question. Do you have a strategy of where you look at the tiers with all positions, or are you doing, all right, I'm set at wide receivers, so I'm going to look at my tiers at running back? How's your strategy?
Oh, this will actually, going along with these tips from all of us, I think everybody's strategy is going to change a little bit because these are great tips, and I don't think we've ever really talked about them with each other. So I'm really impressed in general just reading through everybody's tips. And
you mean taking our tips?
Yeah, yeah. But my main concept is a tier-based system with actual the same position. So, as Ryan, or one of you guys was saying, don't reach on the 12th running back. There's no point.
Mm-hmm.
I want a wide receiver here, so that top wide receiver goes. There's still 2 more, in the top 3. Have your ranking system for there. It's my own strategy, like obviously, is just take the best fantasy points available. I like to draft as known commodity, that banks on one of the other tips, getting those known points that you're going to get. I don't care. That's why I usually go wide receiver early on because I have those late ones and I know I'm going to get 2 of the top 5 wide receivers and they're going to, easily outplay the, 2 running backs I would have got, So it's really about the point system and getting those known points and not having to gamble in those first couple rounds.
Well, to your point, don't panic. Stay confident, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, looking at one of our leagues from last year, so I'm going to rattle off a few running backs, and then I'm going to tell you the receivers that were taken either a round or 2 rounds or sometimes 3 rounds after them. So Mark Ingram, 3rd round. Todd Gurley, 3rd round. Leonard Fournette, 4th round. Melvin Gordon, 4th round. Le'Veon Bell, 4th round. These are the receivers that were taken after them because people started to panic about running backs going.
They went for name recognition too. That was what I was trying to say. Like, don't get caught up in the names, man. Even if it's your favorite player.
And I'm not going to mention who drafted Le'Veon Bell because I'm talking right now. It was a bad move.
It was you. I was like, wait, who did that?
So I bought into the hype. He was like talking himself up. He's like, "Oh, I'm better than ever. I'm gonna get so many carries." Yeah.
And then afterwards, you're like,
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
I drafted him too.
Well, Michael Scott, stop it. Here's what really made me want to throw up. So after I drafted Le'Veon Bell, here are some of the names that went off the board. Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp. How about 4-12, Stephon Diggs, 5-2, AJ Brown, and then, running backs the next round in that 5th round territory, Kareem Hunt, Jonathan Taylor, David Montgomery. Panicked. I didn't pick, the guy I should have picked. And meanwhile, better running backs were taken after that.
Tough,
This is the segment's kind of making us sound like we're terrible fantasy players, even though we have a bunch of championships. But
you have to bring up your weaknesses because you have to learn from them.
We do. We learn from them. We move on.
We got a lot.
You don't win
Just
in the
me.
draft. You don't win in the draft, but you can certainly lose it. That's for sure.
Ooh, yeah.
All right. Enough draft talk. All right. My tip number 3. All right. We're getting lower. Try not to be a prick. All right. Not gonna name any names besides myself. But no, they're probably not even listening anyway because they hate me. All right. Don't send annoying trades. All right. There was this one kid last year. He would send just lowball trades, and nobody you guys know. And I'm like, I don't even know him. It's some league that I only know like a couple people. So he just sent lowball trades and just keep on messaging you. I'm just like, stop. Like, I think I had to block him or something. I'm like, I just turned off notifications. Like, this is ridiculous. He kept on trying to get like Dalvin Cook for Mark Andrews or something. I'm just like, I have Darren Waller. I don't need Mark Andrews. So it's just like, he didn't look at my roster. You're just like, oh yeah, this will work.
Got
Anyway.
on me. Excuse me.
Whoa.
Wasn't dropping
No.
any names there.
I said nobody that we know.
I hope he's listening to this.
He better be listening. He's a big fan. He's a good supporter.
He is a good
I
supporter.
like him.
No,
He
I'm
also,
a traitor.
All right, so I get what you're saying. There's nothing wrong with shooting. I might be a bit loud there. Excuse me. There's nothing wrong with shooting low and negotiating. But if people don't do it like insulting them, like I get caught up in that too. I will shoot low to try to negotiate and haggle, but don't be insulting at the same time. I get caught up in that as well. So, but this particular league, there's this one dick in the league last year who had no idea what he was doing, but he sends a dumb trade which gets accepted and there's no vetoes using Saquon Barkley in the trade after he tore his ACL. And it's not a keeper league. It's not a keeper league. And I'm like, this is stupid. Like, this trade makes no sense. That guy has no value. So it's Saquon Barkley and a receiver for like 3 other guys. I'm just like, there's no value with Saquon Barkley. Like, this is stupid. So after I pointed out that the trade is pointless in the group, they started in on me, so we started going back and forth. So I became a dick as well. And some choice words back and forth. Nobody really wanted to trade with me or anybody else in that league after that. Everything kept quiet, so then I kind of missed the annoying trade offers I was getting. So,
Oh no.
there's nothing wrong with being friends and, playful banter, trash talking. Like, Jared and Chris were pretty much rivals in every league that we're in. It's always good stuff, good fun. If I get pissed, I'll get over it. I promise, guys. Hopefully you do too. But when you don't know who are in your league, who the people are, you only know a couple people, kind of tread lightly, all right? It's better to have the majority talking to you and instead of alienating yourself from everybody else by being a dick on the message board. Even though you might be right, like I was. But whatever. Be safe. Don't be a dick.
He's still salty. I love it.
I'm not salty. I got second place, so it didn't affect me on that one. But it was annoying. That kid, he got, I think I'm getting it later in my tips too, same kid, but he got like 10th place, so I'm not worried about it.
Love that.
You guys got any dick stories?
No, we're really nice people, Mac.
I've known you since high school. You've had your moments.
Whoa,
I've
same team.
I've seen you play
Literally.
basketball.
It's not my fault they're in my way. I
Yeah,
play
I know.
football too.
You're a bully.
Can't mix sports. That's the problem.
All right.
There, it's more about managing the dick trades as it is being part of them.
Agreed.
The second I'm a part of them, the whole league is compromised, and then, we don't have a league anymore, so. Oh,
Don't do
man.
that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't be a dick.
I won't be a dick.
All right, Ryan,
right.
what's your next?
I'm gonna take
No,
it back.
just politely, just tell them this real quick.
First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face.
Oh, we already have to check the explicit box anyway. Go ahead with your tip, Ryan. Let's where are we at? Tip 3. Let's start picking up the pace here a bit.
I'm gonna go back to the draft, and this is actually my first tip, but I just went out of order a little bit. So in a 1 quarterback redraft / keeper league, do not draft a quarterback early. So what I mean by that is 6th round or earlier. The later, the better. Not the second pick, not the second round, not the 3rd round, not the 4th round. So a good example I have, I'm going to point out one of our guest hosts, my brother, Jerry Haynes, drafts Patrick Mahomes last year in our redraft league, 2nd round. The next pick is Robert Woods. So if you swap those picks, and in the 8th round, 2 quarterbacks went. Let me know if you guys know these guys. Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson. Pretty good, right? Had pretty good seasons last year. So
you had Aaron Rodgers. I made fun of you
have
for
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Yes, sir. And if you take the 8th pick that Jerry made, which is Jarvis Landry, so if you trade Landry for Watson or Rodgers, you trade Woods with Mahomes, you have a difference of between 60 and 92 fantasy points. Do you guys know what Jerry's record was in our league last year?
Usually not good.
6-7. Finished in 7th
I was going to say
place,
500.
and he missed the playoffs by 1 game. So those 60 to 92 points, now he's 7-6, 8-5, comfortably in the playoffs. So we're literally talking about a swap of moves that he could have made, 2 moves that could have changed the entire outlook on his season. There is so much value with quarterback late in the draft. There were only, out of the top 15 quarterbacks last year in 6-point touchdown leagues, 1 quarterback leagues, that were drafted before the 3rd round. And that was Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. Everybody else was the 7th round and later. If you look at wide receivers, there was only 1 top 15 wide receiver taken out of the 7th round, and that was Justin Jefferson in the 8th round. So you're gonna have such a better chance at picking value in later rounds with quarterback than you are at trying to get wide receiver or running back value in the later rounds.
Huge. That's a big difference. I like the numbers put to it. That's a good visual.
Yeah, somebody did his homework. No, I mean, in your league, Ryan, Regan, rather, I took Dak Prescott in the 6th round, which looked great at the beginning of the season. It was 6-point touchdown for passing touchdown as well. So I was like, yeah, Dak's going to go off this year. And sadly, I had to stream quarterbacks the rest of the way until I got Taysom Hill. So, don't spend too high of capital on quarterbacks. Totally agree. All right, Regan, you got tip 4 for us. Let's we got to
speed
coming
it
up
up.
to 45 minutes here. Yeah, let's move it along a bit.
All right, so let's go through this one quick. So pay attention to your competition. So not to get confused with knowing your league, but competition meaning in the season, you're not in a playoff spot.
Sorry, I was trying to do that quiet.
There's no such thing as pouring a drink quietly. I love that.
Side of the glass, and then Anyway, continue.
Good stuff. So say you're not in a playoff spot, and you see somebody coming up, that you're gonna play, that you possibly could bounce out. Be smart. There's so many things you can do against that team, that could help you win, or give you the upper hand. Like obviously you're a little bit lower than them, so they might have a better team. So you got to play it smart. So for example, looking ahead at the matchup, grab someone they might need, especially if they're streaming QBs, tight ends, defenses. That happens a lot. So say you're playing Mac. He had Dak Prescott, and he's streaming a QB that week, and he's in the last playoff spot that you need, that you're out of. Grab the next QB, spend a little bit more capital, or, if you're using fab, spend a little bit more fab on that guy, kind of counter, block him. Another example, say they have Mike Evans and you have Tom Brady and Josh Allen. They have Mike Evans. They're going to get some good points. Maybe you think about playing Tom Brady over Josh Allen that week. I know, that could be a toss anyways, but that gives you a little bit more lean. You'll make every touchdown that Mike Evans gets, Tom Brady gets. So it kind of weighs itself out, and you won't be possibly too far behind. I know that might not be the best way to look at it, but just because those two players are better, but you can kind of weigh it.
I think the reverse order is how I would play it. If they have a quarterback that they're starting, you play the receiver that he's throwing to. That's how I played it, and I've lost big by not playing Chris Hogan when the kid played Tom Brady. That was Chewy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Mike.
Big. Yeah.
Yeah, if the other team has Mike Evans, you want to play Tom Brady because Tom Brady's going to throw to Mike Evans. Makes sense.
Yeah, but Josh Allen will get you the rushing touchdowns, so I would stick with Josh Allen. But I get what you're saying. You got to see what their matchup is, see what I was going to get to it later, but weather report. Like see, all right, does Josh Allen do good against this team or not? Like Tom Brady goes off against New England on week 4. He's going to do that. So, yeah, definitely play Tom Brady that week.
That's another great point. No, I agree.
They all go hand in hand. Our tips all touch.
Yeah.
Some way or one way or another.
Sword fighting away. My last example. So this is a big game, say like week 13, right around the playoffs, and you're trying to get that last spot. Use your upside players. That you're at the end. Like I'm saying, you need to pay attention. If you have a guy that doesn't do very well, but he has a good matchup and he has some big upside that week, maybe you think about benching one of your guys that do okay every week. You got to go for that home run hitter. In the past, those are players like Will Fuller, Deshaun Jackson that they get like 3 catches a game, but they have 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. So just something to keep in mind. This has nothing to do with other teams, but this has to do with your own team and picking and choosing who you're playing and going for that upside. Any thoughts on any of those, Ryan? Yeah.
No, I'm with you. Always thinking about like how to block the guy ahead of you, especially if you are on the brink of the playoffs and it's going down to later in the season. You want to make sure that you're trying to make those moves just to get into the playoffs, even if they're not the best moves for your team moving forward. Your season's over if you don't make the playoffs. So once you get in, if you can get in, anything's possible. So yeah, be smart, block those guys.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, that might not be best for your team right away, but if you're in, you're in. You have a chance. Matt, do you have something to say? You want to give us your next tip?
Do. I know. We're going a bit too long, but I have a bit of a problem with that. I'd rather help my own team before I block somebody else. But I mean, I get what you're saying. I would just put a caveat on that. Make sure your team is as set as possible before you are spending the fab dollars. But if you have to make a choice between helping your team and blocking the team that you're going against or to prevent them from making the playoffs, I would help myself first before.
That's a great point, and that's a great asterisk. Yeah, that's a great asterisk to put next to this one. And obviously, if your tight end's out that week and you need a tight end, don't try to block somebody. Your team comes first. You're not going to get any points if you don't have a tight end or a quarterback. I mean, so obviously, great point. I'm saying this situation works if your team is well rounded. You have your team, but that team seems to be a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Opportunistic.
Correct. I just want to clarify that.
No, that's a great call. Yeah,
because I've been burned doing that too. So we've all been burned.
So hard.
I'm not talking STDs either, Ryan. So keep that to yourself. All right. Tip number 4.
Nobody
right, when it comes, nobody does. When it comes to around week 10, all right, you start looking ahead. All right, we keep on saying look ahead. But for the playoffs, I'm going to specifically talk about defenses. All right, so if you are still in a league, I know we have a couple leagues that we still have team defense and special teams. All right, I stole one win because It was either Rams or Miami went off with their matchup. So I had the luxury of enough roster spots. I kept on picking up the next week defense that I thought had a good matchup. So I alternated between Rams. I had Miami rolling. I picked up the Rams, and I picked up the Browns to help me with the following week because they had a really favorable matchup as well. Also check the weather reports, especially when you get to the playoffs.
Huge.
We can't say that enough.
Especially with Cleveland.
That is true. But it helps their defense as well. It keeps the points low. Create some turnovers there. But yeah, so I alternated 3 defenses looking ahead all the way through the playoffs and got the second place with that. But hey, works out. All right, Ryan. Sorry, you got something, Regan?
No, I was going to say on that, when you get to the playoffs, you don't need all those random backups you have. Make a point and get those teams, like you said, the defenses, to get those points are going to come.
Yep.
You don't need
bye
all that.
weeks.
Yeah,
bye weeks you got to fill in too. You want to keep that defense as well for the future. So you don't want to drop them to grab somebody else. You might have to pass up on a flex player. Just stuff to look out for there. All right, Ryan, what's your fourth tip for us?
Last 2 tips, and real quick, just to your last point, like
Please.
Quarterback streaming. Think about our league, like the quarterbacks that have won in championships: Tim Tebow, Blake Bortles, Josh Freeman. It's not Pat Mahomes, it's not Lamar Jackson. I mean, obviously, those guys do have, there are teams that have those guys that win championships, but
I went with Joe Flacco.
Exactly. So yeah, my last two tips, I'm just gonna do 4 and 5 together because they kind of go hand in hand. So stay active.
Double tipping, man.
So exactly.
Give me 2 tips at once.
2 tips at once, and so stay active. I was doing some research. I'm looking back at our leagues, and the most active teams are consistently in the championship. So the teams that rank between 1 and 3 were commonly in the finals or one of the top scoring teams during the regular season. So usually what you would find is that lower teams at the very bottom, were high in waiver numbers, and then the teams at the top are high in waiver numbers. If you do not stay active, you will be mediocre. So you have to make moves. You have to be aggressive. You cannot be passive and expect to win your leagues. And the second one is save your fab for handcuffs and backups who will play for a considerable amount of time. This is at the beginning of the season. So you're looking for your James Robinsons, your Mike Davis. You're looking for the guys that are going to be playing because there's a running back that is hurt in front of them or a running back that's going to be replaceable. Unless it's the end of the season, now you're picking up guys. There's constantly injuries, and you kind of have to save your fab for picking up guys who are going to be able to you're going to be able to plug and play for a week or 2 weeks just to get you into the playoffs or even get you into the championship. So those are my last 2 tips. I think just they kind of go hand in hand with stay active, be on top of things, do not be passive.
Oh, good stuff. Actually, I looked at some of my leagues that I run, and there was some guys on there that had like 44 transactions. I was like, this is amazing, but he was in the top 3 this year. He actually won the league this year at 44 transactions. And then on your other note on the fab, this really isn't a question. It's just something I'm going to bring up. I wonder if it's going to be a thing where they we start throwing out a little bit more fab money since there's an extra added game, or if it's just going to get even tighter. I'm obviously not in these many fab leagues. I'm in one, and I wonder if that's going to become a thing.
Is that your pitch?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to do it, Kamish, go right ahead. But yeah, we have 125 in our Dynasty League right now. So yeah, but I would bump it up from 100 to 125. Sure. Why not? But yeah, I don't know. Where do I start there, Ryan? That was...
Oh my God! That is huge!
It was a lot to take in there. if you know what I mean.
Johnny Two Tip.
Just be careful. Don't be spending your fab willy-nilly right at the beginning of the season, like the first month. Don't get too happy. I spent way too much on Benny Snell last year in one league, and did not pan out too well. So don't be throwing it out like you are made of money. All right, Regan, give me your biggest and last tip for me.
Honestly, not going to be the biggest on this one, just because it kind of fades into a couple other ones. I'm not the guy to come to. Sorry about your luck.
Are you Irish?
Irish, Scottish, Italian. It's all. I'm just a mess. So this one's per round drafting. So this kind of goes into what Ryan was saying on one of his tips. What I mean by this is always keep in mind the first 3 rounds or so you are drafting for sure thing fantasy production. There's consistent double-digit scoring, and obviously as you go through the rounds, they become less and less reliable, less and less sure things. So really take advantage of reliable players. Like last year, I drafted Edwards-Helaire first round. I know Mac did too in a league. It bit us in the ass bad. He wasn't a sure thing. It was talked up that he was, and I'm not saying fade away from these players because these could be league winning. But if you want to play that league safe this year, these picks are meant to be sure things. So I just say that as a caution. And then as you go, later on in the draft, those rounds aren't sure things, but rookies and second-year breakouts are huge, players to look at. Those are the ones that are necessarily going to win your league. Like Max said, you're not going to win your league in your draft. You're going to have to pick up players, but these could be like big parts, big keys. I'm trying to think of a couple players last year, but just in general, it's the best way to do it. They just give you the best opportunity for breakouts possible. Can you guys think of anybody from last year that's like a good late like rookie second round breakout from last year? Not to put you guys on the spot, but I'm just trying to. Gibson,
Justin Jefferson,
David Montgomery, yeah.
I mean, those.
He's like an outlier.
Yeah, some of those were waiver wire pickups too. But yeah, when people draft them and then drop them too. So.
Maybe 2 examples. I drafted Antonio Gibson.
I know. I was thinking Antonio Gibson, then or Cam Akers. Draft and stash type of thing too. But you would have been holding on to him for a while.
Another thing just to add to that was the kickers and defenses, and don't stack up on kickers and defenses, quarterbacks. In these leagues, you want to stack up on your skilled positions, your tight ends, your wide receivers, your running backs. You're not going to have a breakout kicker or a defense. You want to have the better chance. 90% of the time that I'm in a league, I do not have the same kicker or defense at the end of the year. You're going to be jumping around. Why grab 6 of them? If you're not going to use them, spend it on rookies, breakout candidates, or just those skill positions that you have a better chance of getting a breakout player from. That's my final.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I'm not wearing that T-shirt. Damn it.
I know. I like it though. I like it. I stream kickers until I find one I'm going to roll with after the bye week. So if you're still doing kickers. Yeah, don't put too much stock in that. I go in the draft without drafting a kicker at all. So Ryan, you got anything to add to that?
No, I'm on board with it, 100%.
Yeah, if you're thinking of getting rid of it, Regan.
I was thinking about getting rid of kickers. Yeah,
I'm for it. That's fun. Yeah, I mean they're fun, but they have their purpose.
Just kick them around.
They kick things. So I call it football. It starts with the foot. every single game. All right, my fifth and final tip. Don't position hoard. All right, you hoarders out there. All right, you don't want to draft Mahomes in the second round and Aaron Rodgers in the fourth round. He's not listening, but you know who I'm talking about. All right, it happened. It's a 1 QB league. All right, that'd be great if it's super flex. Yeah, I got 2 QB league here. Here we go. No. He was just 1, so he had to juggle and play the matchups and everything. He didn't even make the playoffs, so don't do something like that. Don't do the tight ends either. Do Kelsey and Waller. All right? Don't do that this year because you automatically have to put one of them in your flex. All right? And you're going to draft a trade. That rarely works out, man. You got to find somebody really stupid to give up for one of those other valuable players, man. So I do not advise that. The point of your flex is to have the flexibility. All right, especially on Monday nights. All right, get everybody out on Thursday night out of your flex. Leave that flex open for the latest game possible, Sunday night or Monday. All right. Or you don't want to hoard like I did last year. This cost me. All right, I had Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler, Chris Carson, Antonio Gibson, Myles Gaskin, and Jeff Wilson in a 2 running back start and 1 flex. Ryan, I can only start 3 of them. All right, which one should I should keep Cook and Eckler, right? Should I trade Carson, who was doing pretty well, and roll with Gibson? Then he got the toe injury. All right, so should I package Carson and Gaskin for a receiver? Because my receivers were Calvin Ridley, nice, and Cooper Kupp, who was only 3 touchdowns last year. I should have packaged 2 of those running backs to somebody who needed running backs, before the deadline. I should have foreseen that coming. It was pointless. And then I wasted roster spots, man. So don't hoard at positions, man. If you find yourself in this position, trade them. Take a chance on getting somebody else, man. Somebody else is desperate to get rid of. They might be hoarding 4 top-tier wide receivers. Get one of them. And that's my tip. You guys got anything on that?
That happened to me last year in Ryan's league when I had Kyle Murray, Deshaun Watson, and I had another QB. Somebody dropped Watson like a dummy, and I just snagged them. I don't know why they would drop Watson, but then nobody would trade with me. That's the problem. Like, guys, he's probably
listening. Poor guy. Yeah, that was an oops. That was an oops, man. Yeah.
How do you?
Yeah,
oops,
quarterbacks. I know quarterbacks are definitely harder to trade than positional players because people are like, I can make by without the quarterback. I can find somebody that's hot, somebody who's serviceable, just like draft capital. You wait until later to take a quarterback, so it's going to translate into trading as well. Some people are desperate for it, like I was for Dak Prescott going down. I had to make a trade.
Hurts.
I do have Hurts as well. Alrighty. Not just Tom Brady. Just in case you guys haven't noticed. Alright, we're already at an hour right now. Do you guys want to save mailbag for next week, or do you want to get into it and skip the leftovers?
Let's save it, get a couple more, and
Well, Dak, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.